1 day a week where I fully focus on I would say, I forgot the word. I forgot what I was going to say. Now when I say baseline principles, I mean, wow, that tree really just knocked. I don't know if it caught on camera, but it just knocked it. Okay, anyway. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing super awesome. Today we're going to be talking about productivity and you're going to reorganize my life with me. Yeah. So a little bit of a backstory. Let's kind of rewind this. So serial procrastinator, guys. Guilty as charged, and it took me a very long time to come up with a system that actually works. And when I say works, I mean that I would plan, but I would never be able to get all those plans into some sort of an implementation mode. So with these systems that I have implemented, taken a long time to kind of correct and trial and error and do all of those fun stuff. It was a lot of time and a lot of pain and a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, all of those things. So I finally come up with a process that works for me. So this entire process, okay, it's a 4-step process. However, there are 5 baseline principles to this entire process, okay? And in this video I'll be showing you 2 digital systems that I use and 2 analog systems that I use. So it's a 4-step process. However, there are 5 baseline principles that I'm gonna get into right now. Now, when I say baseline principles, what I mean is that these 4 processes actually have a concept behind them. There are rules that I follow for each and every single process, and it's basically these rules that bind all those 4 steps together, okay? And I think that that's why this entire system is so effective. It's because of these 5 baseline principles that I do have, okay? So now, are you ready? Let's get into the first baseline principle. Before we get into the baseline principles, I do kind of want to put it out there that before I was a serial procrastinator, and probably I'm not to that extent anymore because of this system, but it has really helped me. This entire process, on a serious note, has helped me to start planning realistically, start setting goals realistically, and start implementing whatever it is that I'm planning without, pushing it or feeling overwhelmed and then procrastinating and all of the other reasons why people procrastinate. I'm not going to get into that in this video. So basically, this entire process is going to help you first plan. From planning, you're going to bring it into action. Like, these steps are meant for you to actually do what you plan, and that's how you enhance your productivity, right? Because if you don't do, then it's not productive. Yeah, I think so. The first baseline principle is to merge your personal and your business together, okay? So you are no longer segregating your personal tasks and your business tasks. Hold on, I know you're gonna be like, oh my god, Prit, how, what? I can't do this. Calm down. Let me first explain why I decided to do this. So before, I was always like, oh my god, business separate, personal separate. I'm not gonna mix the 2, otherwise I'm gonna get confused, all of those things. However, over time I realized that I started focusing, subconsciously of course, on only one side. So if it was business, then I would completely focus on business, and then I would feel like I was neglecting my personal tasks, and then I would completely focus on my personal tasks, and then I'd neglect my business. And it was just me trying to balance both of them. But here's the catch. By segmenting those 2 segments of my life, I realized that I was telling myself that, hey, it's either or. You know, it's either your life can be business or your life can be personal. That was not the message that I wanted to send to myself, nor did I want to even do it, but that was just how subconsciously things were working out. However, over time, I realized that no, I actually wanted to bring all of them together and see my life as a whole. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna merge the two, and I'm not going to keep them separate from each other. And it will make sense in a little bit as I get into each of those steps, but just keep this in mind, okay? So what's the first one? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Okay. I assume you said we have to stop segmenting our life, and 10 on 10, guys. 10 on 10. The second baseline principle is to color code each of the areas of your life consistently on all platforms. So if you choose, for example, in my case, the areas of my life are YouTube, podcast, Etsy, Instagram, consulting, my business, my LLC, and then my personal life, and then I think that's it, consulting. Okay, did I mention consulting? Not sure. Okay, and each of these areas of my life have a certain color code to them. Okay, so if I were to take Etsy, Etsy is orange regardless of which platform I use. Wherever I go, Etsy is always going to be orange. And now the reason, I don't know why there's so many trucks just whamming across the trees right now. I don't know if you guys caught that on camera. Anyway, so Etsy, regardless of which platform I use, whether it is Airtable, whether it's Google Calendar, whether it's my bullet journal, wherever I see Etsy, it's always going to be marked and color coded as orange. And the reason why color coding works so well is because I don't have to keep scrambling around seeing, oh, okay, what's the color code for this particular bullet journal or for this particular Google Calendar. It's consistent all across any platform that I decide to choose or I have existing. So that is number 2. Now, number three is that I set priorities to each task that I do have, okay? And we will get into this a little deeper as things go and will start making sense, but having priority levels like urgent, this week, next week, or something like that has always helped me to understand, okay, I gotta focus on this now and keep that for later. By having these priority levels, I actually have stopped myself from the shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome is more of a mindset where you're always chasing what you think is shiny at the moment. And it is something that is so common, guys. You probably are even doing it without noticing. And I definitely did this in the beginning. I would find something interesting for me, and then I would do it, and then halfway through that task, without me even completing that task, okay, I'd be like, oh, look, someone else is doing that, I should probably go do that. And then I'll run, do that, and then do that half, and then do another thing half, and then basically I was left with a bunch of things that I hadn't completed fully. Yep, guys, that is true. This is a fact. So now when you set priority levels for each of your tasks, what happens is that you are actually telling yourself that, hey, you're not gonna get up from this until you are done with this. Then maybe you can move on to something else. Then I don't care. But you are gonna finish what you've started because it's urgent, because you need to get this done. Okay? So that was number 3, guys. Baseline 3, the rule is to set priority levels. The fourth one is also to set a status for each of your tasks. And we're gonna get into all of this in a little bit, guys. Just calm down. Patience. We can do this. Now, number 4 is status, okay? So it could be to do, in progress, done, discarded, those things. By adding in a status for your task, you're just making yourself more aware of what's in progress, what you need to do, and what's done. Number 5 is to review extremely regularly, okay? Which means that it's not just about you planning, you also have to set aside time for you to review what you have done, okay? Maybe once or twice a week. You can set the frequency yourself, whatever's comfortable to you. But what's important is that you take the time to review it, okay? So basically, those are the 5 principles or rules that I have for my entire process. Okay, it takes me about 30 minutes a day for me to complete this entire process, because honestly guys, if this took me any longer, I would not be doing it. No, bye-bye. Okay, but over time it's become a little faster, so I probably do it in maybe 20 minutes now. So I reserve 1 day a week, however, to just go in and do a deep dive into all of these steps. So on that day, it takes a little bit more time. So probably an hour to an hour and a half. And I usually keep it on Sunday. You can choose whichever day works for you guys. So usually on Sunday, I'm doing a deep dive into these 4 steps. Okay, but other than that, it takes me 20 to 30 minutes every single day. So make sure that whatever you are implementing from this video, definitely take what resonates with you. How I think that this video would help you would be to implement whatever it is that I'm explaining in this video, and then implement it for maybe a week or 2, and then tweak it according to your, I would say, your preference. Like if you feel like, okay, I don't need so many priority levels, I just need 2, you keep it at 2. If you need more, you keep it at more. So customize it to your needs. Basically, that's what I want to tell you. Okay, so I think that using this video as a baseline would be helpful to you, and then you can keep tweaking it as time goes. But I think that this process, especially if you are a serial procrastinator, this works. This really works, and I'll also explain why it works as the video goes as well. Okay guys, are you ready? Let's get into step number 1. So this is what Airtable looks like once you sign in, and I have different bases. Bases is just short for a database where you store all your information. It's kind of similar to Workbook in Microsoft Excel, okay, where you can have different sheets inside. So in this, I have my content calendar, my tribe content, my brand partnerships, and then TL is task list, and I always update the week as each week goes by, okay? So if you guys want a video on how I create my content, definitely let me know and I'll create a video on that. I'm not going to look into that in this video. And then if you guys want a video on brand partnerships as well, then definitely let me know. I will also make another video on that as well. So today we're only going to focus on TL, which is task list 9/8 to 15/8, which is this week. And if over here you can see add a workspace. So all of this is a workspace. So basically it's one entire project, and then you have different segments in that project. Now before, I used to keep a separate workspace for my personal and then keep a separate one for my business. And I realized that that was what was confusing me, because I was just either focusing on one way too much and I was not looking at my life as a whole. So that's one of the biggest pro tips that I can give you, is when you are trying to manage different aspects of your life, try to look at your life as a whole instead of breaking it into multiple sections. Okay, keep all parts of your life of equal importance, I guess I would say. Okay guys, so now let's get into the task list. Okay, I've already opened the page for you. So this is what it sort of looks like. It sort of looks like an Excel sheet, as you guys can see, but there's a lot more that you can do with this. Okay, so first off, let me just go over each of these sections. So first off, for my task list, it's more of a brain dump area where I just put everything that's on my mind that I have to do. So I've just literally just put everything that I can think of. Now there comes the project. In project, I've divided my life into the different sections that is important to me. So there's YouTube, Etsy, podcast, Instagram, consulting, LLC, and personal. So these different sections, so even if it's a personal task, I will put it in here. There is no demarcation that, oh my God, it's personal, so I'm not gonna put it in here. This helps me focus on every single aspect of my life instead of just zoning in on 1 or 2, okay? Huge pro tip. Another thing that I do have for you is that while you're listening to this video or watching this video, you can simultaneously work on Airtable and pause this video at any given point whenever you feel like. How I think would be helpful to you would be to definitely take inspiration of each of these and then customize it to your life. Either add, remove, or edit whatever you feel like. And I personally recommend implementing this entire thing that I do have for you about 1 or 2 weeks, and then you'll know what to remove, what to add in for your life, okay? Just wanted to say that. So that's the project. That's my second column right over there. Then I have the status. So I have 3 statuses, and then the last one is discarded. Okay, so sometimes it's a to-do, but then I feel like, oh no, I'm not going to do it, and then it just goes discarded. And the reason why I have this is just so that I understand what's the difference between a done task and a discarded task, okay? And one of the best things that I absolutely love about Airtable is their color options, okay? So I have picked colors that, are going to be the same regardless of which platform I'm using. So even if you go to my Google Calendar, you will find the same color codes. And then even if you go to my bullet journal, again, the same color codes. And that is one of the things that has really helped me improve my productivity and efficiency, because all I have to do is look at the color and I know absolutely what I'm talking about and what it is about, instead of trying to search, oh my God, okay, what is red for my bullet journal or what is green for my Google Calendar. It's all the same everywhere. Okay, so after status, we have priority. Now, priority, again, I have a couple. Some of them are ongoing, some of them will be urgent. Urgent usually means 1 to 2 days. I gotta finish it 1 to 2 days. Within this week, again, that is self-explanatory. And then next week, within this month, next month, whenever I'm free, and then done. And then I have the date. Sometimes I put the date, sometimes I don't put the date, especially for the ongoing ones. There will be no date because it's just ongoing. And then some of them, like within this month or next month, I'm not yet sure of when I want to do it, right? So I'm just going to put the date as non-existent, and then as the time comes, I will update it. And then I have the notes, which is basically to add in extra points to these. At the moment, I don't have any to show you. Now, once I've written this down, I've actually segregated this, okay? So I've sorted it out. It sorts by itself, so I don't have to do it. So there are 3 different ways that I have segregated this entire worksheet, I guess I would say. The first one is priority. As you guys can see, all the ongoing, all the urgent, all the within this week, next week, it's all segregated. Then I segregate it by the date. So in urgent, it's segregated by the date, and then by the status. So in urgent, within those 2 dates, you can see that it is segregated by the status as well. Okay? Now, I check this view probably 2 times a week. One on Sunday, definitely, and one maybe sometime in the middle of the week, or whenever I just have to add my thoughts. Like if there's something on my mind, I just dump it here. I've kind of made it so that every time I do open my Google Chrome, this page just automatically comes up. Okay, so that's how this is. However, which view is important to me is this one called priority, and I'll take you there in just a second. So now this is a Kanban view of this. Okay, Kanban was actually a concept coined in by an engineer at Toyota just to improve the efficiency and productivity, and it is something that has evolved over time, and this follows that system. So what this does is it actually segregates your entire task list into the priority. Okay, so I don't have to do anything, guys. All I have to do is just say I want to see the Kanban view, and then I can say I want it to be according to the priority, and that's it. That's how it comes along. So I don't have any uncategorized. Sometimes I do, maybe I'm not sure, or I've just brain dumped it and I didn't have the time to fill in the categories, and then I usually clear this up on Sundays. Now, let's go into this section. So what's actually important to me, and what I keep looking at least 2 times a day, I guess I would say, is this. Urgent within this week and next week. That's it, guys. So for example, reorganize with me shooting, that's today and it's in progress, and YouTube. Everything's just mentioned, and you can customize this if you don't want this to show up, or if you want more things to be shown. Everything is customizable, okay? Then I have some tax things, and then I have a podcast thing to do, and then I have editing, which is tomorrow. Now, for example, okay, this ASMR thing. For example, this is a video that I'm planning to do for next Wednesday, and I have it for 14th. Now 14th is in 2 days time, which means that this has become urgent now, right? All I have to do is drag this over here. It will automatically set this to be urgent in all, and I don't have to do a single thing. All of these fields are sorted by date, okay? So automatically urgent, but it's 14th, okay? So it's still urgent, but it's the last thing on my list for urgent, okay? It's not yet, so I'm gonna put this here, okay, guys? I usually do it 1 to maximum 2 days, and it's not yet 2 days, so I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna make this urgent tomorrow. Hey guys, so this is me editing, and I realized that I forgot to mention one thing. The urgency actually helps you to implement the task, and it's a psychology kind of trick that we follow in marketing as well, where urgency brings about the sale, and basically it helps the buyer to do whatever they have to do to make the sale happen. So by bringing in that psychology trick into Airtable, I've kind of made it a way for me to actually implement the task that I have to do. Alrighty guys, let's get back to the video. And then of course there's next week, within this month, next month, and then when I'm free, and then when I'm done. I usually clear this out once it gets to quite a bit, and sometimes I do keep them on just to remind myself what is done and what I don't have to think about. So I keep them for some time, but then later I just delete them so that it just clears up space in my mind as well. So this is one view that I do have that I spend the most time on. Another view that I do have is the status. And I don't really spend too much time on this. It's just for me to keep in mind that, okay, these are my to-do, this is what is in progress, this is what's done, and some of it could be discarded and stuff like that. But for the most part, priority is where I'm usually at. Then, of course, I'll just kind of go over the different views that I have so that you guys can also try it out for yourself. Now, assigned means that I have given them a status and a project to do, okay? Not assigned, I don't have any at the moment. Maybe I've not given a priority, maybe I've not given a status. All of those come under not assigned. And this is usually when I'm in a hurry and I just want to brain dump it so that I don't forget it, and then I just don't assign it, but later I do come and I assign it. So for the most part, this is usually empty. Now comes another interesting part. So if I want to just take a look at my tasks for individual segments of my life, it's right there, okay? So let's go to YouTube, for example. It takes from this, guys. It takes from the main task list, and then it just tells me, okay, well, I've put a filter over here. So I say where status is not empty, because I know that sometimes I do put YouTube, but I just don't put a status because I'm not sure whether I want to get it done, or, you know, it's just in a thought process or a brainstorming kind of process. So where status is not empty, and of course my project is only YouTube. So only YouTube will show up. And for each of these, it'll be only Etsy, only podcast, only Instagram, and so on and so forth. And of course, I have sorted it out by the priority. Okay? So this will be only YouTube. Like for example, if I just want to see what is pending in YouTube for this month or something like that, or what is pending in podcast, just to manage my time a little better, then I just take individual views. So this is just basically when I need it. But for the most part, priority is where I'm always at. Like my Chrome page actually just opens up to this page, okay? I just wanted to share that with you. So there are different ways that you guys can see this. You guys can even do a calendar view if you'd like. You can even do a Gantt chart view. There are different ways that you can look at this. For me, this works. The Kanban, sorting it out by priority, works so well for me. And I highly encourage you to try it out for a few days and tweak it according to your preference. So that basically wraps up my step number 1. So every Sunday, I kind of go into I add in my tasks for the week, for the month, whatever it is, I'm just putting it in. And then I take a look at the priority page at least 2 times a day, and I'm always updating. That's usually step number 1 for me. Okay, now let's hop on to step number 2. So guys, this is step number 2 with my bullet journal. So I take out the spread that I have for the week. I usually do this on Sunday. And I basically try to figure out the tasks that I want to do for that week. So through Airtable, we kind of figured out what we wanted to do for the week. So basically, I'm going to put in the dates for those tasks. So I'm going to individually put them into these dates, and then that is step number 1 in this entire process. So once I decide which day I want it to go to, that's it, my process ends. Okay, now the next time that I do pick up my bullet journal will be the night before the next day. Okay, and when that happens, so after we've sort of figured out what we want to do for each day, I basically write the date and the day in my bullet journal, and then I write down the tasks. All of these follow the bullet journal method. Over here, I have personal and other. Like for example, if I have to do any other task that is not related to business or personal, if I have postponed something and I just want to write the reason, or if something happened and I just want to put it in there for my notes. And if you see this line over here, it's basically whatever goes live that day, or if I have any meetings or calls that I want to remind myself. Okay, so that's why this is blank. But on other days, it's written like over here, YouTube, nail art, story time. This went live, so I just keep it over there for it. Okay, so that's basically step number 2. I'll talk about this. This is step number 4, so hold on. I will go over to step number 3, and then we will look at step number 4. Okay guys, so now we come to Google Calendar, which is step number 3. So with my bullet journal, I sort of have figured out what I want to do for the week and how many hours I'm going to approximately dedicate to that for the week. So in my Google Calendar, I do this every Sunday, guys. I will basically set the week up. Okay, so if you look at my next week's calendar, it's absolutely blank except for a few podcast episodes that I knew that I was going to do. But other than that, each week I start with a blank slate. Okay, so this week I've already fixed it because it's Thursday. I usually just set for the week, and then as the days go by, I shuffle it around depending on either my mood that day or if there's another task that is kind of more urgent than the other, sort of. Now, take a look over here. I've created individual calendars for each of the segments in my life, and I've just said yes to all of them. Okay? This is easier than just having one and then segregating it by color. I've done that before, and it didn't really work out so well for me. So as you guys can see, I have maintained the same color code that I do for my bullet journal as well as Airtable. So consulting green, Etsy orange, exercise is a new one. So I've put it as yellow in this, and then personal, LLC, Instagram, and YouTube podcast. Okay, so all of these have the same color codes everywhere, all through any platform that I use. So let's take, for example, today from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm actually shooting this video. It's around 11:55 a.m. right now, and I'm in the middle of my shooting. And then I have a call with my mentor, and then I have a podcast that I have to record, and then I'm doing tasks for today. Now, for example, let's say, for example, Reels shooting on Saturday. I don't want to do it on Saturday. I maybe have something else that's come up. All I do is I just move it. Okay, so I'm not going to be compromising on the amount of time that I want to spend on that. I'm just shifting it around. So for example, if I want to do it today, but then I have this part that I'm not doing of editing and design, then I would just do another block and then I would put it over here to do it for Sunday release and stuff like that. Okay, so time blocking really helps you to identify how much time you're going to be spending on individual activities, and because it's on Google Calendar, you can just shift it anywhere at any time, and as the week goes through, it's flexible for you. Okay, so I also put in my personal stuff in here. Like I told you guys, I had segregated it at one point, but the thing is that when you want to look at your life as a whole in its entirety, it's important that you also look at the different segments in your life as a whole. So I have calligraphy here, I have another calligraphy. So my goal was to have about 2 hours of calligraphy per week, and then I've sort of achieved it over here. Then 2 self-care routines, again 2 hours of self-care, 1 hour of hair care per week, and then nail care because I do that every week as well just before I shoot my videos. And then tax, I needed a couple of hours, and so on and so forth. And I always keep a bunch of hours for plan and review for the next week. I don't use it all, but it's just good to have that time allocated just for that. So that's basically an overview of my Google Calendar. And when you create an individual calendar, you can definitely change the color. You can even add a custom color according to what you like as well. Okay, so this is basically an overview of my Google Calendar, and I do this every Sunday. And of course, as each day goes by, I kind of shift it around depending on what's important to me. I also have the Google Calendar app on my phone, so I just know what is important for me to do at that moment and stuff like that. Okay, so this is step number 3. Now let's head over to the last step in my list, and that is time tracking. Okay guys, so now we come on to step number 4, which is time tracking. So by now you've sort of figured out what you want to do for the week, you know what you want to do for the night, you've time blocked it on Google Calendar, and that sort of gives you the flexibility to move things around and stuff like that. So what I do is I write 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. You can do this on a sheet of paper, you can do it in a book, anything. I use my bullet journal. By the way guys, if you want a video on my bullet journal, definitely let me know and I will create a video for you. So this is what I had thought that my day would go. The one in black and the one in red or any other color. I use different colors guys. Like there's blue and then basically not black, I guess I would say. So over here, I thought I would do cold emails and consulting and then do 2 quotes for Instagram. However, my sister landed and called, so I talked to her and I slept really late. So I think I slept at 5 a.m. that day, okay? And then I slept for a few hours and then I woke up instead of waking up at 5. And then I did some researching as opposed to Etsy because I realized I really wanted to do this, and then YouTube, and then slept, and then I spent time with my mom because my sister had just left, so kind of wanted some family time over there. And then I was going over my sister's expenses plus working on my YouTube reel, and then I watched Castle in the night. So this basically shows me how my day deviated from what I had originally planned. And it's not a way to penalize me, it's just a way for me to take a note and to review at the end of the week how my day actually deviated. Now, the reason why I write it down is because you can't erase it. However, on Google Calendar, you can keep switching things up and you can keep moving it around. So you never really know how you thought your day was gonna go. However, in this, you can't change it, right? So I make sure that it's all written down, and I don't feel bad if I don't have the same day outlined, okay? It just helps me understand myself better. So it's still a work in progress, as you guys can see, but over time, I am starting to get better at figuring out, you know, at least the previous night, I try to make a mental note of what could possibly change the next day, and I kind of include it in my time. So I've started to leave more free time so that I can, you know, add in things or shuffle things around. So that's one step that I've taken. But for the most part, I think that my days are starting to align. Though, of course, given that my sister has just left to the US, things are a little crazy on my schedule front and I can't expect it to match. If you guys want to see one that matched, hold on, let me show you one. Like this day, for example, I knew I was gonna wake up at 8. I knew I had to help my sister. I knew I had to go to Vegas City with my dad. And I knew that I had last minute packing, lens cart, and family time to do. So it aligned. Like I actually did it at exactly the same time. However, this went a little bit more and this was exactly the same. So there are some days where I know that, okay, my day is going to align. But if it doesn't align like this, I don't hold it against myself. That's key, guys. I know that people don't time track because they feel like it's, you know, a way of showing their flaws, but don't look at it that way. Look at it as a way for you to keep improving yourself and keep planning your day a little better day by day, okay? And not just this, guys, I actually have a visual time tracker, and hold on, let me show you. So this is my visual time tracker. Like I said, guys, each of my stuff is color coded across all platforms. Oops, I don't think you guys saw that. But like I said, each of my areas in my life are color coded exactly what it is on any of the other platforms. And this is just a visual way for me to see what I have spent my most time on. And brown is personal, so over these few days my sister was leaving, and you know, you can see that I have spent a lot of personal time. I actually took off from work these 3 days. You can make out that I did not sleep well and I have also just focused on my personal stuff. Also here you can start to see that I'm slowly getting back to work with my business. There were a few things that I needed to take care of, so this was on the consulting side of things. Then I've done a little bit of YouTube work here, Instagram work here. Again, a lot of personal stuff, mostly towards the afternoon to night, because my sister's in the US, so I you know, just talking to her and helping her figure things out and settle down over there. Then of course a bit of YouTube work, and then, you know, sleeping because I slept at 3 a.m. I wasn't able to get sleep because I stayed up most of the night talking to my sister and stuff like that. So I'm still in that process of getting back to my normal sleep routine, but the minute I see this, I can visually know how my life is actually at this point. So you can see from personal, I'm slowly starting to include business stuff, and then I make sure that there's time for self-care. Yellow is self-care. And then I'm slowly, you know, getting into YouTube. I'm slowly getting back into my podcasts. Okay, so basically this is a visual representation of what goes on over here. Okay guys, so that's basically step number 4 for you. So that's time tracking. So guys, that brings me to the end of this video. I really hope you guys liked it. Like I said, there are 5 principles to the entire process, and the process is a 4-step process. And like I said earlier, it takes me about 20 to 30 minutes a day to finish all of these things, and that includes like filling my entire bullet journal. So there's a lot of other things that I do. There's a mood tracker. I track my habits as well. And then there are a lot of things that I do other than that. So, and then I plan out for my YouTube and my podcast as well. I don't think you guys could see that. But yeah, so including all of that, it takes me about 20 to 30 minutes per day in the night. This is my routine, like this is my me time that I have for myself. And then on Sunday, it probably takes me a little longer, but that's just me going deep so that I don't miss anything out. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching all the way up until here. If you guys have any video requests, definitely let me know in the comment section. If you guys have any questions about this video, definitely let me know in the comment section as well. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.